Audio's recording. Okay. Hi, everyone. This is another episode of Let's Talk Creatives, engaging with creative individuals across the globe. Natasha, if you'd like to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your work.
Hi, my name is Natasha. I am a visual artist based in London. So my work is it speaks about colonialism, racism, marginalization, and politicization. So my work speaks about post-colonialism in a way through my lens of living in the United Kingdom and also being from Zimbabwe. So I kind of mix that different perspective and different heritages, different countries into kind of one practice, and I kind of let that develop and let that show within my work.
So, how did you start your creative journey with your painting? Was there a particular person or art movement or anything that inspired you? Or how do you remember how it all started?
So I've always been kind of within the arts. So growing up in Zimbabwe, I had uncles that used to kind of work with metal, and they used to create kind of metal sculptures. So from then, I was kind of maybe had like an eye of creativity. And it wasn't until maybe 2018 that I started kind of branching out to different galleries and organizations, because in the meantime I was doing my degree, but at the same time I was also kind of drawing in the background. And whenever I'd show anyone, they would always encourage me to kind of do something with my art. So yeah, back to 2018, that was until I had my first exhibition. So that's kind of what got me into art. So kind of seeing that through my family and just kind of having that as a passion, and following from a passion to a hobby, and then a hobby to exhibiting. So it's kind of been a natural process, yeah.
So, has there been any particular highlights of the year so far that you could talk about? Any particular projects you're working on at the moment?
So in terms of highlights, so last year was a big highlight for me. So I was kind of commissioned to do a portrait for Top Boy. So it was the end of the actual series, and they reached out to me, and I was so shocked because, like, wow, yeah. And from then on, my portrait was then collected by the National Portrait Gallery. So I think that for me is like such a big highlight, because as like a career mark, I think, of every artist to kind of get collected by an institution such as the National Portrait Gallery. Like, that's such a big dream. So I was really happy to achieve that so early on within my career. And yeah, I think that was for me a really, really big highlight. Yeah.
First off, massive congratulations. When I saw the Top Boy project, I thought that was very impressive. But being selected for the National Portrait Gallery is a massive, massive achievement. What did your friends or family like say about that? Like, how did they react? I'm actually quite curious.
So my friends and family were super excited. I think everyone, including myself, we were all kind of in a whirlwind, because it just happened really quickly. And I think it was in the space of a week. So it was kind of like the high from Top Boy, and also being part of such an amazing project, and like such a cultural marker in the UK as well. So it was like really nice to be part of that, and then to be collected. So yeah, everyone was really happy. My parents, my friends, like there's such a big community of like supporters as well. And also people that I met whilst exhibiting for Top Boy at Somerset House were also like very like supportive. So yeah, everyone was really happy. Yeah.
So, moving forward, is there any particular gallery you'd like to exhibit, or is there like a dream? Is it, I guess, do you have a dream project that you'd like to do that you haven't done?
Yes, so my dream gallery, so I really would like to work an exhibit in Zimbabwe, so my home country. So I'm kind of, within also my practice, I'm trying to kind of find myself home in a way. So hopefully as I kind of develop and I kind of get to know my own artistic language, I can then branch out to exhibit in Africa. Like, that's such a big dream of mine. And in terms of what projects I would like to work on, so one is to do with my own cultural heritage, because in my artwork I tend to talk about other people. So if you see behind me, this is a project to do with kind of the criminalization of Black people in hoodies. But I kind of want to connect it back to my own ancestry and my own heritage. And that kind of means, like returning home and kind of finding that history within myself. So it's a process. So I've done maybe one painting on ancestral history and like an ancestral awakening, I would say. So I kind of want that to develop and kind of become my voice. So when it's the time to show my work, can kind of speak for itself in a way.
No, that's it's impressive. Like me, I'm always striving to interview more female African artists or female artists from the diaspora, and I think you're one of the people that just pushing that flag, encouraging people, inspiring younger people as well, like women within the diaspora, younger girls are looking up to you. Obviously, you're inspiring them. It's very, it's really, really good. It's really impressive. Is there anything you'll like to see within the art scene, like maybe for like young girls or women or within the or maybe there's a grievance, or maybe there's something you see and you wish it could improve, maybe perhaps?
So kind of what I would like to see, and maybe also I'd make this one of my goals, is to kind of work with young female artists. So coming up from school, so like leaving my A-levels, I don't really think you kind of get that support that you need and that visibility that you need. And I think there's so much talent out there. Like, we live in London, so many talented artists, but they lack support and they lack the confidence to kind of put themselves forward. So if I can kind of be a bridge for them to do that, like, I would love to do that. And also the same with going to Zimbabwe. So I've thought about kind of going to different communities and kind of speaking to different women that kind of weave, they sew, they make things, and kind of promote that, show that in kind of in an exhibition of like the local talent, because that is art, even though they kind of think it's just a day-to-day thing. That's kind of what I would like to do, kind of push young female artists and also kind of go into communities and look at them, look at how they work, what they do, and also promote them, because that's where we all started from.
No, that's like powerful stuff, man. Powerful stuff. So pretty much, I set up this platform to, for my own selfish agenda, to just network with creative people, make friends with creative people, to be honest. But it's become something where it's a bit bigger than me, and like there's so many different artists like tagging the page and all that stuff, young artists that want to get on and all that. And I realized like this platform is like you never know who's watching, you never know who's gonna like you might spark, like someone out there might just see this and think, oh wow, she did the work for National Portrait Gallery, she did the projects for Top Boy and all that. Mm-hmm. You know what, I wasn't sure if I could do art, maybe I see her doing it, maybe I could do it as well. Because one thing, I have to be honest, I haven't interviewed enough female artists from the diaspora. I need to do more of that. But the past 4 years, 5 years, obviously there's massive artists, like female artists within the diaspora. Obviously there's amazing artists, but I don't see enough. And I would like to see more support structures to help male and female artists within the diaspora as well. So I think that's something I need to see more of that. There needs to be more support structures in place to help creatives within the diaspora. And because there's a unique voice within the diaspora that needs to be encouraged and pushed, and this platform, in a way, it's just my own way of just contributing a little bit to putting something together, and hopefully I just hope that some people are inspired by some of these videos that I post. But I don't know if there's anything you would like to add to that.
No, I think it's your platform is amazing. Like you said, you don't know who's watching and what kind of reach that you can have. And I think with social media as well, we have our reach kind of extends further than what we thought it would. So like you said, it's a lot bigger than you, and it is, and as it should be. So to touch other people in different countries, different areas. So I see you speak to different artists around from London, all over the world, and they also have their own community. So if they're able to kind of see what I'm doing or what somebody else is doing and think, oh, that would be really great for my community, you've already helped kind of bridge that gap from that exposure. So I think it's a really important thing. And as well, even with young female artists, Black artists working in London, I wish there was more kind of visibility around what each of us are doing, because we all have very different practices, but what we lack is that visibility, but there is that community there. So it may take maybe for like person like you for us to kind of see that and think, okay, maybe we can all come together and kind of bridge that visibility gap, so we can kind of come together as a community and like create work and become stronger. Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, have you done much podcasting, or do you have your own podcast? Or I think you'll be a great podcaster. I think you've got a lot to talk about and a lot to express. So yeah, I think, yeah. I think I don't know. I think because I think someone like you will be able to, encourage more. Like I think you have an important voice within the art scene within the diaspora. That's what I think. So I think if you had a podcast, maybe I think like even just documenting because all your pieces, do you document all the pieces you create in terms of like video and stuff like this? Like, do you document the painting in video?
I do, yeah. So in some of them, I do like time lapses.
Yeah.
So from beginning to end.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can kind of so people can kind of see my process, because I have a lot of DMs about what's my process and kind of how do I get from idea to something on canvas. So I think as an artist, I'm quite a perfectionist. So I don't like showing the ugly stages of my work. That's quite personal. So I just upload my final pieces. But I've heard from a lot of people that it's important to show that kind of ugly stage, because it also inspires people. So I've had people DM me about, can you send me some of your process videos? And I've sent them over. But yeah, I think it's something that I should kind of start showing within my work, like how we get from the conception of the idea to the final end product, because it kind of helps you to understand the artist a little bit more, I think. Yeah, so something I will definitely do. But I do have footage for a lot of my artwork. It's just kind of putting it all together in one. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said before, I think you have a very important voice within the art community as a whole. And to document your process will be very powerful. You know, I always try to encourage artists that don't really do that to do it. Like, talk about your sketchbooks, talk about the process, expose it, just do it. Talk about I made a mistake or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the best thing comes out of the happy mistakes. You know, that's what makes the process organic. You know, there's no such thing as perfect within the process. That's what makes art.
Yeah.
It's that organic process, you know.
Yeah.
But I encourage you, like, do more of the stuff covering your process, because you've got a lot of paintings and there's interesting stories behind the process if it's documented, I think. So
No, I definitely agree. So I'm about to kind of start working on a new project, and that one I kind of want to document a little bit more, and also not be so perfectionist with it as well. So kind of just let it go when it's done and don't keep touching it up. So, like, behind you, I've got a portrait of myself, like, wearing a hoodie. So you can see the background to begin with was yellow, but because I thought, I don't really like it, so it's kind of going over it, like, repeatedly. So why couldn't I just leave it at the yellow bit? So it's kind of, stopping myself from adding too much, and then it kind of, adding too much takes away from it in a way. But yeah, like, with my new project, I'll be documenting a lot. So yeah, keep a lookout for that.
yeah, well, it's good, like, and encouraging for other people to see, because they see your final pieces and they don't realize, you've gone through actual process. Maybe you've actually changed things here and there to come with the final outcome. But basically, some of the younger viewers, I guess, they'll be less aware of the actual process, and they see the final piece and they think, oh my God, it's very intimidating.
It's very daunting.
It's very daunting, because they see, I'll never be as good as Natasha, because I just see the final pieces. I'm not seeing the process. So yeah, definitely document the process and embrace the mistakes, or quote unquote mistakes. But I think definitely, like, play around voiceover content and all that stuff, you know. So
I've seen quite a few artists kind of venture into that, and also that's something that I think I find quite intimidating. So that's kind of why I just upload the final piece, because there's so much that goes into also, like, making sure the video is, like, visible. You're continuously filming, you edit it correctly. That's also a process within itself. And as an artist, like, fine artist, I'm good with, like, drawing. When it comes to, like, editing and filming and all of that, oh my gosh, that's very daunting. That's what I find daunting. But I think, with filming more and more, it kind of becomes more comfortable in a way. I'm kind of getting used to it now. And also not forgetting to film. So before, I'd kind of film the beginning, and then I'd realize, oh no, now I'm at the end. I've missed this whole process. So yeah, kind of what I said, like, getting that ugly stage, I think. So it's as well also becoming more honest, I think, with my work as well, and how we get from point A to point B. So we'll see. Keep a lookout.
Yeah, no, I love watching like, behind the scenes of how something's created. I like learning about the artist's thinking behind like what they're doing, in each piece, and seeing like how it started to where it ended up. So yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, so there's quite a few things. So we touched on how you started. Like, did you, when you got more serious about art, did you take life drawing classes, or do you study a book, or do you just teach yourself? How was that?
So when I first started, I used to use the process of a grid. So I'd get a picture and kind of divide it into a grid method and kind of work out from square to square. And that's kind of how I become acquainted with realism, because a lot of artists kind of use that in terms of proportions, in terms of what colors you're looking at, and that specific square. But as I'm growing within my artwork, I've kind of let that go. So my process has now become a lot more different, to where it just goes on the canvas, and I'm not really looking at a grid. I might be looking at a picture, but I'm looking at the picture as a whole, not broken down in sections. So I think as I'm developing, I can kind of hone in that process and maybe actually change it. So I'm thinking of kind of changing my process now to maybe going from my head straight onto the canvas and not kind of planning it in between. So looking at the painting behind us, so this is of my brother and his children. So this was taken, this was an actual image, but I'm thinking of now removing that process of having an image and just going straight from what's in my head and onto the canvas. So yeah, it's constantly like developing and changing. So it's different from the start and very different to now. Yeah.
Cool. So just for clarity, people that are watching these are still in development. They're not completed yet. So yeah, it's all in development. They're not completed yet. So we're capturing a bit of the process now. Yes, a question I like to ask people, all the artists: what was your biggest struggle, pitfall, or obstacle you had to overcome within your art journey?
Oh, that's a very good question. Oh, I think that's constantly changing.
You could talk about stuff you've overcome.
Okay, so in terms of overcoming, things I've overcome is becoming comfortable with talking about my artwork. It's kind of building my confidence in talking about my practice, where I'm going, where I'm kind of coming from, and also putting those words to writing. But I think I'm kind of going through a development right now. So like I said, in terms of changing my practice, so not working so much with images, but kind of working from my head and kind of developing not so much of a refined practice, but kind of leaving it where it is and not being so much of a perfectionist, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But that comes, I think that also comes with time. So yeah, keep a lookout. The process is just constantly changing. I think for every artist, you just wake up and you'll see something or you'll think of something and you think, what if I do that? And that small little thought, it changes the whole process. So yeah, like I think each day is very different. So I think I'm really excited to see where I'll be at in maybe 6 months of how my process would have developed from thinking about it now to then. So yeah, like I said, keep a lookout.
No, I like what you said before about just developing the confidence to articulate your ideas and all that stuff. And I think that's a very important thing for young people to understand, that building up that confidence is a key factor. The fact that you've started and you're at a point where you just kept on doing it, and all these different opportunities came to you, and I think that's that's inspirational. That on it in anyone's standard, like that's a massive accomplishment. Just to build up the confidence, and now you're at a stage where established
It's like
with the
early career artist.
what's the word? But the key thing is the confidence anyway. Just building up that confidence to start, which you have done, and you just kept going and going and going and going and going, and you're still going, and I think it's a powerful thing actually, just to keep, and it doesn't. And for the artists out there, young people out there that are listening, maybe they're not sure, or maybe they feel a little bit unconfident, or not sure what direction to go to. Just keep trying different things and don't worry if you don't think the work is amazing. Look at all your favorite artists. Yeah. They had to start somewhere. Yeah. If you look at some of their earlier works, you'll be surprised and you think, oh wow, that's, and you see it when you see. This is why seeing the process is very encouraging, because it lets people know that it's possible for them. Some other creatives that are talented, it lets them know that this is what she did when she was 10 years old, 15 years old, 20 years old. And you can see that within yourself. When you see that, when you look at the process, when you're aware of that process, and you see, oh, they did that, I could do that too. It's just encouragement.
Exactly.
That's, what I mean? That's how I see it. It's just the process. It's more grounded in the reality of the process of how these pieces are created. So the groundwork, the process, the early development, the early stages, maybe, in the sketchbook, okay, we did that, then we did that. But to document the sketchbook, I don't know if you keep sketchbooks or...
You know what, I don't actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I have feedback from that, yeah.
Yeah, everyone's process is different, man. I can't. Everyone is different. But yeah, I think the younger people out there that are watching, look at the sketchbooks of your favorite artists. Look at their early work, and you'll see that they started like, even some of the people maybe they're not the most amazing artists when they started. Because they kept going, they just got. But you can't help but to improve. You're gonna improve. Exactly. It doesn't matter. Like, as long as you keep doing it, whatever you do, you're guaranteed to improve. Yeah. So, if you're not young artists out there and you think your work isn't great, keep pushing. You're going to improve, and get feedback from the right people as well.
Yeah, you've said so many like really great things there, and I think as well, even with the sketchbook, I wouldn't, because myself, like I said, I'm a very perfectionist. I don't like the in-between stage, and I think a sketchbook for me shows too much. A sketchbook I think is very vulnerable. I think it shows like the actual vulnerabilities and the feelings and the sentiments of what the artist is going through in that specific time. But I've heard of a lot of people, even if you draw and you kind of keep it on loose paper, just kind of put it together, and that kind of forms your own sketchbook. And also kind of, I think with process videos, right now we live in a digital age where you're able to kind of see that, whereas some time ago, all you had was the final end product in a gallery, and I think that intimidated a lot of people, because you don't know how that artist got there. You don't know what their process was. You can read about it in a magazine, but you're not specifically seeing it. But now that we live in a digital age, we're so privy to having that information, and like young artists are really kind of lucky to have that, and kind of lucky to have that reach to their favorite artists. So right now you can DM them, and sometimes they may reply, sometimes they may not, sometimes they may let you know what their process is. They can recommend like books and stuff. So I've done it too, and yeah, I think it just kind of bridges the gap. It kind of makes you a little bit more confident to experiment within your own practice. You're not so scared because now it's tangible, whereas before it wasn't really. But yeah, like you said, each artist has a process. But yeah, I would definitely encourage any artist, young or old, to just keep doing what you're doing. I think it's really important to be able to express yourself creatively, even if you don't show it, or if you do. If you have a sketchbook, that's amazing. But yeah, just keep developing and keep developing. And like you said, you can only go forward, you can't go back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely young and old. It doesn't matter how old you are. Just start it and enjoy the process. It's important to be able to express yourself creatively. Me personally, I see the arts as a form of therapy as well. You can sit down and just sketch anything or paint anything, whatever. But I feel for me personally, the process of just drawing or painting is very calming, and it just sets your mind at ease. Maybe you'll paint on your canvas, you could play some music in the background. It's a feel good vibe. But and you don't, just enjoy yourself, have fun. Don't try to be, I want an amazing paint. Get all that stress out your brain, man. Just enjoy it, man. Just put the paint to the canvas and just enjoy it, man. Just have fun, man. Be positive. Have a good attitude about it as well. I think that's very important as well. Just have a good positive attitude about it. And if you pet day by day, month by month, you're gonna be amazed by the improvements, So definitely, just keep doing whatever. Don't give up. Just keep, just keep doing it.
As well, just keep being playful. I was saying, so just kind of keep being playful within your practice, and like you said, don't take anything so seriously, because I feel like once you kind of add that, it takes the fun away and you kind of forget why you are doing it. So it's important to be very playful. So I think what I want to do in a couple of years from now is kind of rework back into my old works, but in a playful way, because I've spoken about such serious topics. So for example, racism, black men dying, black women dying, like domestic slavery. So I kind of want to, in a couple of years, after I kind of sat with the work, go back into it with a playful mindset and maybe a looser hand, and rework into those works, knowing what I know. So I also think doing workshops really helps as well, in terms of bringing your playfulness out, kind of create a community for yourself with different artists, and also reach out to the artists on Instagram. I think any artist is so happy to have anyone come to their studio and come and see what they're doing. So I'll just encourage young artists to just be playful and kind of enjoy the process and enjoy themselves, not to take it so seriously.
Have you ever done workshops before? Have you been?
I have. So during lockdown, I facilitated a workshop around body positivity. So it was kind of a 6-week workshop where I invited different women of different colors to come and participate in a group mural representing different bodies. So each week was focused on a different body part and a different material. So for example, week 1 was to draw your stomach in pencil, and then would all come together at the end of the week and would kind of talk about how that process was. And second week was kind of draw your legs in biro. So kind of all materials that were accessible at home during lockdown. So you didn't have to kind of go out of your way it wasn't costly at all. And from that reaction, I had middle-aged women join, and they gave me such like wonderful feedback that they'd never seen their bodies in this way before, that they felt so free after the workshop. So it kind of got me thinking, why did it take so long for this to happen? So like you said, a young artist as well, because I, at the time, when I had this idea, I was like in my mid-20s. This was like a couple of years ago, but yeah. So it's kind of like, a young artist, you don't know who you're reaching out to, because that feedback from me was so important, and it got me thinking, yeah, why has it taken for me to kind of do that? Because this could have solved so many confidence issues a very, very long time ago. Yeah.
Would you ever do it again? Have you ever done it once or?
So I think I did it twice. And then after that, I think the world opened up and we just got really busy again. But I would definitely love to do it. So I'd love to do workshops with children around creative expression, and also kind of with young adults. So kind of going into schools with sixth form students as well. And I think that's kind of the key age where you're trying to decide what you want to do with your life. So kind of go into like schools, help them kind of become more expressive. And like you said, art is therapeutic. We need that. And I think more young people need that.
I definitely think you could work with adults as well. With the body positivity thing you mentioned, I think that's very powerful, helping young women, middle-aged women, elderly women with body positivity. So I think that's something, if you're interested in pursuing it, I think that would be a good thing to just keep doing as well, you know.
Yeah.
That could be, because that's a story within itself.
Yeah.
All the women you'll be helping with self-confidence, you know, body positivity, self-confidence and all that stuff. So, and you got good feedback from it already. So you could just keep organizing those workshops. I don't know. I just think it's a powerful series, you know, like, and like document it, like turn it into a series, you know, use the images, turn it into a book or something, and get all the girls, all the participants sign it. They could write their stories, because I think that's a very powerful thing, that body positivity thing. Yeah. And that's when I first saw your work. That's when I first saw you on Instagram. I remember you're doing, I think there was, the body positivity series. Yeah. That's where I saw it. But I think, you know, when you can, like, you know, obviously you've moved on to different things, but I think that series is a powerful thing to just keep doing as well, you know, I think.
I think also, like, it's really important, because body positivity never stops. And I think those issues, oops, that fell. It's okay. Those issues, they never stop. They never go away. And I think we're constantly developing, we're constantly bombarded by social media, different images of different people, different bodies, different women, and you can't help but kind of compare yourself to other people. So I think with that workshop, it kind of allowed women to kind of forget that and focus on themselves and kind of celebrate themselves. So it's something that I definitely would love to do. But it's also kind of, going back in time, because when I was kind of working on my body positive project, it was kind of at a time where I think it was needed the most. And this was kind of when we were all at home thinking about ourselves, our lives, taking our health into consideration. But also I think it's something, like you said, with adults and young people, it would be a really positive thing to do.
I think that was a very powerful thing, and that's what caught my eye when I first discovered your work. But I think that would be a powerful thing, just to continue to, you know, play around with the body positivity workshops or projects, or I think It's just good stuff. But yeah, one question I always like to ask my guests because I love movies. What's your favorite movie and why?
Oh my gosh. So this is changing. It changes all the time. But funny enough, I'm the kind of person that watches the same 5 movies, and those same 5 movies just constantly change. So I think my most recent favorite is Reservoir Dogs, so by Quentin Tarantino. The way that's filmed is so artistic. That movie, like that whole movie, can be put into one painting. I think one massive painting, because I think the scenes they don't take place in many locations. I think the movie is actually maybe filmed in like one warehouse, I think. Yeah, and I kind of like the style of the way it's filmed. And I think for me, I think about it in my practice, it's quite in a perfectionist way. If you kind of look at how the characters dress in like suits, it's very black and white. In a warehouse, there's not too much color, there's not too much going on. It's kind of very simplistic in a way, but there's so much complexity behind it. There's so many layers behind it. But I think it's just a really cool film. So that for me is like my favorite at the moment.
Really? Okay. I'm curious to know about the other 4 movies. You said you like you said you like to watch the same 5 movies. What's the other 4?
Oh my gosh.
I'm curious. I'm just curious. I love movies, man. So.
So the other 4, so there's City of God. So that was a really, really good movie, very, very vivid. And I watched this movie a very long time ago, but it's still like burnt in my brain. And then there's also a South African film called Tsotsi. So it's to do with a young black man who basically has to live, so he has to kind of steal. And the way that this movie is shot is so beautiful. Like, as well, that could be a painting within itself. There's so much rich culture, so much language. I really, really love that film. So we're on 3 now. And then the other one it's another Quentin Tarantino movie. It's not Kill Bill. Oh my gosh, now mine's gone blank.
What happens in a movie? What's the plot?
So, Inglourious Bastards. That's it. That's another.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So I think maybe I'm just a big fan of Quentin Tarantino, maybe. But Inglourious Bastards, that's a painting. So within that film, when I first watched it, I actually took some screenshots because I really loved the color setup of the different scenes. So there's a specific scene where I think it's like Winston Churchill is in a room, and I think they're talking about the Nazis, but behind them is a massive portrait. I think it's of Hitler, and I was like, whoa, the color scene in this specific scene is absolutely crazy. It's, again, so complex, but so simply broken down. And I kind of allowed that color work to kind of feed into my work. So like in my newer works, you kind of see there's kind of a traditional color palette, but it's also in my own kind of lens. And I feel like I got that from watching Inglourious Bastards. Yeah.
So another good tip there, like you can watch movies. But that's good, man. You drawing inspiration from movie clips, movie scenes and all that. That's dope, man. That's dope, man. Yeah. Well, you know what? Now I'm curious about, do you watch much TV shows?
I watch more documentaries, I think, than TV shows. So I'm a very true crime fanatic. So any documentary that comes out, I literally have it in the background whilst I'm painting, just listening. But funny enough, I did a project on a film called Black Girl by Usman Semben. So again, influenced by film. where it talks about domestic slavery and how a young woman moves from Senegal to France to work for a wealthy couple, but they entrap her within the house as a slave. And that story really resonated with me, where I created, I think it was 7 drawings, black and white drawings, depicting different scenes, but also adding my own story into it, and kind of going hand in hand with Semben's story. So if you look at the film, it's in black and white, it's very classic, and at that time I was very black and white within my work as well, because I love graphite, I love pencil, and I love white paper as well. So I feel like, that really inspired me, and I feel like that's where I got my first taste of kind of mixing film and art and kind of seeing how the two go. So you can kind of see, film, I think, is very key in my work. That's kind of where I draw so much inspiration from.
Film is very powerful because it's weird, but sometimes you could watch the right film at the right time and the actual film kind of conveys a particular emotion perfectly. And I was thinking, wow. Well, I watched Big last night. With starring Tom Hanks. And I was just classic movie, and it's weird, like when you watch a film as a kid and you watch it years later through your eyes are a bit more sophisticated because you've watched so many movies, you're creative, whatever. And I just thought, wow, this movie has aged really well. This movie has aged wonderfully. The cast and the actor that plays Tom Hanks' best friend, he was perfectly cast because he was like the only adult in a way. He was like, there's a scene where the mum was complaining about doing everything for the kids while the little boy was serving the food and everything. And on top of that, he had to help Tom Hanks find a hotel room and sort everything. He was like the adult, helping him out with everything, and like consoling the mother, he'll be back soon and all, So I really, really loved that cast, that boy. He was kind of holding everything together in a way.
He was the glue.
Yeah, he was the emotional support. but the cast, the storyline, the acting, writing, it just made me think of my childhood, and I think going back to the playful mindset, I think that's very important. That's very important, that playful mindset, to have that fun, to have that childlike kind of wonder, when you're exploring a different technique within your artistry, or, just that childlike wonder, that playful mindset. I think it's a really wonderful thing. I think it's a powerful, powerful thing, So, when you said the playful mindset, it just sparked something in my mind. And that's absolutely true. You need to play. You need to have fun.
It's very necessary. So, like you said, now even reverting from going back to watching films that you watched when you were younger to now when you're older, it's kind of what I want to do within my work. So kind of come back to them a lot later on, see them and become more playful. So even what artist was it? I think it was Picasso, who started off with being very realistic within his own artwork, but became more playful within his work. And I think it's really important, because I feel like it's then where you kind of unlearn so much that you have learned. So I think, right now I want to go through a process of unlearning and kind of becoming more playful, becoming more colorful, and just kind of seeing how it goes. But I do want to definitely revisit some of my work in a couple of years' time with a different lens and a different kind of attitude towards it and see how that goes, because I think that would be quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important to keep learning and exploring. You don't just continuously do the same thing over and over and over again. Keep learning new things and keep developing. And it's okay, like maybe you've established a particular skill set. It's okay to go into a different arena where you may feel out of your depth, but that's the best place to be. It's good because you get to learn something new. Yeah, so, okay, cool. So, Natasha, so for anyone that wants to learn more about your work, where could they find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at nparis. So that's N for November, P for Papa, A for Alpha, R for Romeo, I for Indigo, double S for Sierra. And my website is artxnatasha.com.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Cool. Okay.